Have you ever stared at an object, willing it to move, just a little? A glass on the edge of a table. A candle flame flickering in silence. And for a fleeting second, it almost did. But what if it wasn't imagination? What if the power to move matter with the mind isn't fantasy, but a forgotten science? Across history, from secret schools in ancient Egypt to reclusive Himalayan adepts, whispers of a hidden force, telekinesis, have never truly vanished. Not a circus trick, not sci-fi wizardry, but a latent potential of human consciousness. One buried beneath centuries of dogma, ridicule, and fear. In this video, we dive headfirst into the shadowy realm between science and spirit. We'll explore the mysterious roots of psychokinesis, tracing them through sacred texts and esoteric traditions. We'll uncover why mainstream science dismisses it, yet intelligence agencies quietly studied it for decades. We'll ask the questions most are too afraid to voice. Could the mind truly bend reality? Are there individuals alive today who can harness this power? And more importantly, can you? But we won't stop at theory. We'll unravel ancient teachings and modern experiments alike, separating illusion from insight, hoax from hidden mastery. And by the end, you'll walk away not just with answers, but with tools, practices to tap into the dormant depths of your own consciousness. Prepare to leave behind the surface world. The truth about telekinesis isn't out there, it's within. And once seen, it cannot be unseen. The forgotten art of moving with the mind. To uncover the roots of telekinesis, we must first journey into the mist-veiled chambers of antiquity, where knowledge was sacred, and the mind was not merely an organ of thought, but a force of creation. In the hidden temples of ancient Kemet, what we now call Egypt, initiates spoke of the Ka and the Ba, subtle energies of the soul that could influence the physical world. The priests of Thoth, god of wisdom and magic, were said to move objects with incantations, not of words alone, but of focused intent. These weren't spells as we know them, they were mind-directed energies, what modern mystics might call psi phenomena. Across the sands of India, the Vedic sages chronicled similar feats in the ancient Upanishads. The cities, or spiritual powers, were described as natural outcomes of advanced meditative practice. Among them, the game, the ability to defy gravity, and prakamya, the power to fulfill one's will across space. These were not considered miracles. They were symptoms of expanded consciousness. Even in the distant East, Taoist alchemists spoke of internal energies, qi, that could be projected beyond the body to affect matter. Through breath, stillness, and focused thought, the practitioner could bend not just the body, but the world around it. But somewhere along the line, this ancient science was obscured, suppressed by empires that feared loss of control, mocked by materialist philosophies that demanded measurable proof of the immeasurable. As the Western mind pivoted toward reductionist science, the invisible was dismissed as illusion, and the mystical became a myth. Yet threads of the truth survived. In the diaries of monks, in the scrolls of desert mystics, and in the whispered teachings passed quietly from master to disciple. By the 20th century, the world saw a strange resurgence of interest. The CIA launched programs under Project Stargate to investigate remote viewing and psychokinesis. Russian psychics like Nina Kalugina astonished observers by allegedly moving small objects across a table with mere concentration. Skeptics screamed fraud. Yet the experiments continued, behind locked doors. Philosophically, telekinesis challenges the very framework of reality. It suggests that consciousness is not a product of the brain, but the very substrate of existence. That thought is not passive, but active, creative, potent. The ancient adepts knew this. They guarded it. And now, in our age of technological overdrive and spiritual starvation, we are beginning to remember. What was once myth may in fact be memory.
The mechanism of mind over matter. If telekinesis is real, how does it work? What is the bridge between thought, an intangible impulse, and matter, the physical world? To answer this, we must discard the rigid assumptions of classical science and step into a realm where consciousness isn't a byproduct of biology, but the prime mover of reality itself. At its heart, telekinesis, also known as psychokinesis, relies on a foundational premise, that consciousness interacts with the fabric of the universe. Ancient traditions weren't guessing at this, they knew it. And now, modern quantum theories are catching up. Let's begin with a familiar mystery from physics: the observer effect. In the quantum double-slit experiment, particles behave differently when observed, waves collapsing into points simply because they're being watched. What does this imply? That consciousness affects the state of matter at a fundamental level. It's not proof of telekinesis, but it opens a tantalizing doorway. Now imagine a consciousness not merely observing, but intentionally directing that collapse. This is the territory of advanced spiritual adepts, those who've trained their focus to laser-like precision. In many esoteric schools, attention is likened to a ray of fire. It can illuminate, burn through illusion, and yes, perhaps even shape reality itself. But how? Here, we encounter the concept of subtle energy, known as prana, chi, orgone, or etheric force, depending on the culture. These energies are said to act as intermediaries between thought and form. When one cultivates them through breathwork, visualization, or deep meditation, they become the fuel behind mental influence. Many alleged telekinetic practitioners report similar sensations during practice: pressure building in the forehead, tingling in the palms, a pulsing in the solar plexus. Objects don't move with effort, but with a strange, effortless intent, a letting go rather than a forcing. It mirrors what Zen masters describe as wu-wei, or action through non-action. Some researchers have proposed that telekinesis might involve micro-PK, tiny influences of the mind on random systems. Experiments using random number generators have shown subtle deviations from statistical norms when people focus their attention. These deviations are small, but consistent, a whisper rather than a shout. Yet even a whisper, over time, can carve mountains. But there is another key, perhaps the most overlooked: emotion. Not the chaotic waves of ordinary feeling, but deep, steady states like compassion, love, or focused awe. In many ancient teachings, emotion is the charge, while thought is the direction. Only when these two align do the hidden mechanisms of consciousness begin to stir. So why don't we see more evidence? Because this isn't a parlor trick. It's a discipline. It demands more than belief. It requires a transformation of perception, a rewiring of how we relate to self and world. You don't need to try harder. You need to become still enough, not to move the object, but to dissolve the boundary between it and you. Telekinesis isn't about defying physics. It's about expanding what physics has yet to understand. And now that we've glimpsed the mechanism, the question deepens: what else might the human mind be capable of?
Unveiling the hidden dimensions of power. If telekinesis isn't magic, but a latent human faculty, then why is it still so rare? Why do we not see verifiable demonstrations on a global stage? The answer lies in the nature of reality itself, and the games it plays with perception. To grasp this, we must understand that reality is layered. What we call the immaterial world is merely the most condensed form of energy. The deeper one goes, from gross to subtle to causal, the more influence consciousness holds. Ancient mystics claimed that it is on these inner planes where true creation begins, long before anything solid is shaped. This concept is echoed in the Hermetic axiom: as above, so below, as within, so without. The mind, the microcosm, reflects the universe, and what you shape within, if clear and strong enough, begins to echo outward. But this brings us to a key paradox. Telekinesis thrives in silence. In doubt, it dies. The moment ego demands performance, the moment pride or spectacle enters, the delicate resonance is shattered. This is why so many tests fail, and why so few demonstrations occur in controlled environments. The subtle energies that enable telekinesis are disrupted by skepticism, stress, and artificial observation. This isn't an excuse. It's a fundamental truth. The higher laws of consciousness do not bend to the lower demands of ego or proof. They bend only to alignment. There are also spiritual safeguards. In many esoteric traditions, psychic powers are considered side effects, not goals. The Tibetan lamas warn of Hasidics as distractions. They arise naturally on the path of deep meditation, but if pursued directly, they inflate the ego and derail spiritual evolution. Some say that the universe hides these powers from those who seek them for personal gain. Even still, there are whispers, obscure accounts of monks levitating, shamans influencing weather, healers manipulating biological systems with intention alone. These tales are not meant to convince. They are meant to initiate wonder, to reopen the eyes of a world numbed by materialism. Consider this too. The mainstream narrative is controlled. Throughout the 20th century, experiments in telekinesis were buried beneath red tape. Government agencies explored them not because they believed in magic, but because they saw strategic advantage. If even a fraction of it were real, it could mean breakthroughs in warfare, espionage, and human potential. Isn't it strange that these programs, like Project Stargate, ran for decades and only ended when public attention grew too curious? Perhaps the real suppression isn't of the ability, but of belief. Because belief is the bridge. It is the tuning fork of reality. And in a world where belief is ridiculed, telekinesis is not impossible, it is uninvited. Yet cracks are forming in the wall of doubt. Quantum physics speaks in riddles that echo the mystics. Consciousness is being reconsidered as a force, not a byproduct. Minds around the world are awakening, not to superstition, but to possibility. And so we ask again, not whether telekinesis is real, but whether we are ready. Ready to remember what we are. Ready to reclaim what was once sacred. Ready to see the mind not as a servant of matter, but as its silent master. The deeper truth is not that telekinesis breaks the laws of nature. It operates by laws we have yet to understand. Training the mind to touch the world. If telekinesis is possible, not as a spectacle, but as a subtle force, then how do we begin to access it? The first step isn't movement. It's stillness. 1. Cultivate inner stillness. Telekinesis begins not with the hands or the eyes, but with the mind in complete presence. Daily meditation is not optional, it's the foundation. Start with 10 to 15 minutes a day of seated silence. Breathe slowly. Let thoughts pass. Focus on the space between them. Over time, increase to 30 minutes or more. You're not just calming the mind, you're sharpening it into a tool of influence. 2. Sensitize to subtle energy. You must first feel the invisible before you can direct it. A simple practice. Rub your palms together until warm, then slowly pull them apart. You may feel tingling, warmth, or magnetism. Play with that sensation. Move it. Compress it. Imagine forming a small energy ball. This is not childish imagination. It's energetic training, used for centuries in Qigong, Reiki, and yogic science. 3. The candle focus exercise. Place a lit candle about 3 feet in front of you. Sit in silence. Stare at the flame, not straining but gently observing. Breathe deeply and relax. Begin to visualize the flame responding to your intention. Don't force it. Don't expect it. Simply hold a soft, steady focus. If it flickers, leans, or dances abnormally, it may be subtle feedback. Repeat daily. The goal isn't to prove power, but to refine attention until it becomes seamless with will. 4. Emotion as fuel. Before any practice, cultivate a powerful, coherent emotional state. Love, gratitude, awe. These are not abstract. They're energetic frequencies that amplify your mental signal. If your thoughts are radio waves, emotion is the electricity that powers the broadcast. 5. Visualization with surrender. See the object moving clearly in your mind's eye, but then let go. The paradox of psychokinesis is that it works best when you release control. Intent plus surrender equals flow. Common obstacles and how to overcome them. Doubt, even a small seed of disbelief can block the process. Use affirmations or mantras to reprogram limiting thoughts. Ego attachment, if you seek results to prove something, you'll generate tension and interfere with flow. Seek alignment, not achievement. Inconsistency, like any skill, it demands repetition. Create a ritual, a time, a sacred space. Make your practice non-negotiable. Optional tools. Crystals like clear quartz or selenite can amplify energy if used with intent. Binaural beats or solfeggio frequencies can help deepen trance states. Journaling after sessions helps track subtle progress and refine intuition. Above all, remember, this is not about moving pencils or spinning spoons. It's about reclaiming the link between mind and matter. Even if you never witness dramatic effects, the inner transformation alone, sharpened will, deeper focus, awakened sensitivity, is profound and powerful. In time, as your awareness expands, you may find the world responding in small, uncanny ways. Not as proof, but as a dialogue. One that was always there, waiting for you to listen. A power forgotten, or waiting. Telekinesis. To many, it remains a fantasy. To a few, a hidden truth. And to you, perhaps now, a possibility. We've journeyed through ancient temples and quantum riddles, peeled back layers of doubt, and glimpsed the sacred technology of the human mind. What we've uncovered isn't just about moving objects, it's about moving ourselves. For telekinesis is not an end, it's a doorway. A symbol of what becomes possible when consciousness awakens. When the mind, the heart, and the will unite in clarity. Maybe you won't bend a spoon today. Maybe you never will. But if you learn to still your mind, direct your energy, and trust in the unseen, you'll begin to shift the one thing that matters most, your inner world. And when that changes, everything else follows. Remember, ancient sages never flaunted these powers. They protected them. Because they understood something we've forgotten, true power flows in silence. It doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. So the next time you feel the urge to dismiss the idea, ask yourself, is it truly impossible? Or just inconvenient to a world that fears what it cannot measure? We stand at a threshold. The mysteries are stirring. The veil is thinning. And the question remains, not whether telekinesis is real, but whether you are ready to remember what you've always been. So tell me, what else might you be capable of? If this resonated with you, leave a comment, share your thoughts, or tell us about your experiences with mind and matter. And if you're walking the path of the mystic, the seeker, the hidden student, subscribe for more revelations like this one. This is only the beginning. The Third Eye Files, where ancient secrets rise, and forgotten powers return.